My name is Geus. I am managing the pre-sales team for CloudHealth, recently acquired by VMware. So we were an American startup and we are now part of a bigger organization. And the true vision behind that was that if we look at our reality of CloudHealth, we play a role in managing and maintaining usage and performance control and optimize that from a cost perspective in any of the four kind of big clouds, right? VMware private clouds, Amazon, Azure, and Google. Similar to the Oblivion scope of AWS, we help manage and maintain a large complex environment for our customers in a multi-cloud environment. So we do that not just as a one-trick pony. We do that by opening up the platform to have connectivity integrations into many clouds. We have standardized ones, the four big ones you see on screen, but in effect we can integrate with any type of cloud, with any type of SaaS provider. And we do that for the purpose of enriching our data set. I'll give examples of how that looks, how that works, and what the benefits for customers are. What do we do? Well, we manage and maintain about 4,000 customers. About 35% of the global Amazon invoiced spend is run through our platform. So that's not a customer number, that's a value number, right? On average, we save about 25% of the customer's monthly cost on their cloud spend, just by taking control and ownership of their behavior. We're still, well, our business unit, now that we're VMware, is still headquartered in Boston. We remain our own brand, we remain our own vision, because VMware figured out that doing stuff in pure cloud is different than being very good in data center. And we're migrating a lot of the VMware efforts on cost management and cost control into the CloudHealth platform to have that single platform for cloud cost management. Key to our success and also to VMware liking us are the bottom ones, the Forrester and the Gartner reviews that ranked us as the top leader of this field of play. So in Jeroen's circle of cloud cost optimization, the Gartner quadrant, we're the leader in that space. So why are we the leader and what do we do? In effect, we're transforming our customers to have a maturity level in the cloud when they adopt cloud. And that maturity level is set out in this diagram. And I'm not going to go line by line into each of these because Jeroen and Michelle asked me to focus on demoing the product and showing you in real life than just talking about slideware. So each of the topics on the slide I will go through in some use cases, still on slides, but I'll show you in real life in the platform as well. What it simply means is cost visibility, having insights, having control, having a mechanism to show your internal organization what their spend is, how they're spending, and how they could optimize that spend. That's the first level of getting confidence with your cloud, right? Not waking up at the end of the month in seeing, I have had a mining issue in my environment. At the end of the month, my invoice is double the size I was expecting. It is that use case where CloudHealth, through its governance engine, through policies, through automation, will help govern that the customer knows that that is happening when it's happening and not after the fact. So we don't have to wait for month-end processes to finish, for a bill to land on the doormat. Compliance and security, because of the data we collect, we're able to report and benchmark that data on CIS, Center of Security framework. Are we really good, similar to security tools? No, we're not. That's not our core business. Our core business is making sure that you have control over your cost. But we have the data, so we can give you some granularity of control. Going back to my introduction of platform, can we integrate with security environments to enrich our data and to have a power play together? Yes, that is what we do. On a governance level, the shell shock or the bill shock experience of the invoice landing on your doormat at the end of the month is one scenario. However, the CloudHealth platform is more than just a reporting tool, it helps remediate. So a simple example would be that your cloud environment, you as a business, as an IT owner, have a tagging strategy. Tags are relevant to do proper showback and chargeback. If you allow delegation of control, people are allowed to spin up and down assets and instances and resources as they like. They need to comply to your tagging logic. If that is a cloud management platform, there might be a backdoor in a cloud interface where troubleshooting happens. So there might be changes that are not following the guidelines. We can pick up on those changes. We can pick up on those kind of guardrails of this is how the cloud should behave when it's my cloud. And if there are assets deployed without the proper tags, an owner tag or a business unit tag or a project tag, we can alert an IT administrator that it is incompliant, but we can go further than that. With the security information we have, we know the owner, we can mail the owner, he is incompliant, give him a couple of days. If he is still incompliant, shut down the assets because of incompliancy. So it is remediation of the topics in the cloud. It's not just about reporting. And then we come with service integration. It is integrations into provisioning tools, into CMDBs, the likes of ServiceNow, where a product catalog might exist, or a CMDB might exist with more richer tag information, which we can use in our platform to enhance the reporting capabilities. For who do we do that? Well, all types of people in the business. FinOps, line of business, DevOps, architects. All of them have their own specific use and insight needs they can get from the financial logic of the cloud environment. For who do we do it? Well, for both enterprises and partners. Oblivion is a very good partner of ours. They use us for making sure that when they resell cloud services or added value services, that they can do that in an automated, simple fashion. For the enterprises, it's all about cost control, optimizations, and right-sizing, and we're going to talk more about those specifically. So what are we going to do? I'm going to show you in a quick way 10 ways of how customers of ours manage and reduce their cloud spend in AWS. So the first one is EBS volumes. I can summarize these by talking about ghost infrastructure. We all know assets are being spun up, somebody gets fired, and nobody knows it's still running. If those things happen, then we have ghost infrastructure. Nobody is accountable, but still somebody is picking up the check. That happens with specific assets as well. If you spin up an EC2 instance and you delete it and you forget to check the check mark, delete the disk as well, the EBS volume, then the EBS volume is kind of hidden in the Amazon console. But it does cost you on a monthly basis a lot of money. So what we do, again, through automation, through our policy engine, we can monitor and manage whether or not an EBS volume has been unattached from an EC2 instance for longer than a week. And if it's longer than a week, then the guidance of the platform is delete it. But before you do, create a backup. Again, we're not just a reporting tool. We can execute the backup and then delete the volume, saving you continuous cost. DraftKings is an example where that was closing the deal for our software just by this use case. Deleted aged snapshots, right? In Amazon, snapshots are have a capacity of you can delete the first master, which is an old school way of looking at backups and incremental backups. Snapshots, even the latest, are always a full, even if you set it to incremental. So whatever you delete before that, you can delete. Nobody does that, or at least not programmatically. We help, again, by setting alerts, setting thresholds on how you want to handle those snapshot mechanisms to make sure that you don't overpay for having enough backups of your environment. Elastic IP addresses. Interestingly, they're free if they are attached to an EC2 instance. If you delete the EC2 instance and you leave the IP address untouched, you actually need to pay for it. So that's an interesting one of ghost infrastructure again. If you don't alert on those unattached elastic IP addresses, if you don't manage them, again, this is closing us deals. It can really go into the tens of thousands of dollars for IP addresses that are just floating around. In this case, it was a telco who migrated, removed, changed loads of EC2 instances and ended up with loads of IP address costs. So zombie assets. You can also forget to turn systems off, right? Cloud is elastic. What we see happening if we start to track the behavior of all 4,000 customers we have is that nobody is actually using that elasticity. Well, that's maybe a bit harsh, but not a lot of people are doing that. Some are using auto-scaling groups to make that a more automated approach, but shutting systems down which are useful from 9 to 5 on a weekday, but not in the evening and not in the weekend, nobody is doing that. But it saves you 70% of your cost. That's a lot. That's much more than looking at reservations and other optimizations of getting the right infrastructure under the right workload. This is key. If you don't control this, then you are overpaying. So the order of all of these kind of 10 ways to success is actually the logical onboarding order of CloudHealth. This is the order where you need to optimize. So first ghost infrastructure or zombie assets, and then the rest. Then the things that are put in marketing brochures. The things of, this is a common one, upgrade to the latest instance of a specific family. It is cost efficient to do so because Amazon provides lower costs for each generation they release. If you don't take that opportunity to benefit from that, you're left with a traditional data center that is a legacy data center with hardware that is old, that is costly, that is not effective. CloudHealth helps to monitor that behavior, monitor on new released generations, and actually can help you differentiate why you can close the business case of the application migration to the new generation because of the cost difference, right? So we try in each of our recommendations to close the business case for you because we make everything financial. I'll stick the customers who benefit from this. So this is a standard one, right? Rightsizing, understanding whether or not your workload is running in a proper way. Traditionally, especially when customers are migrating from data center to cloud, what we see is that they are still kind of anxious to oversize their assets in the beginning. They want to be sure that everything is performing. Again, they're not using the elasticity, the scalability of the cloud. They are oversizing for a 3 to 5 year term because they don't want to have the hassle of having to migrate over to another instance, to another environment. I think Oblivion has enough ways to make that simpler and better, but at least you can have the financial value of why that is important. Why that is important is some of the reasons why we exist is that not all cloud native tools actually deliver enough capabilities to do this properly. If you look at Amazon specifically, they deliver CPU and network statistics, but that is not hardly for free, sorry, but that's not hardly enough to be sufficient in your right-sizing recommendation. You need memory and disk statistics to at least have a proper view of your workload. CloudHealth can deploy a free agent. You could deploy the CloudWatch agent, but that is at a high cost because then you start to pay for the transactions, for the logs that CloudWatch generates. You could integrate with Sumo Logic or Datadog or New Relic or other application performance tools like Wavefront by VMware to actually have that integration. Have us do the right sizing, but still have the benefit of an application performance management tool. So I totally agree with the vision of Oblivion, where it is take the best of class applications, combine them and merge them. That is key to our success. That's what we do as well. We are very good in cost control and cost management. If there are others doing things better, we'll integrate. This one I already talked about, right? Starting and stopping of assets. This is the calculation. If you want to take your phone to recalculate, it is really up to 70% of benefit. By reservations. So let's take the stand here. So we have right-sized infrastructure. We don't have ghost infrastructure, and we have control using rules, guidance of our policy engine. Then we start to look at reservations. And why is that a big thing? Because Amazon has made it very difficult. Or in Amazon words, probably they made you a lot of features so you're able to choose the best reservation you need for your workload. That's really difficult. It is so difficult even that they don't build tools to support you to do it properly. They do have tools to help you quote for reservations, but they don't take into account reservations that are already existing or expiring. It's kind of hard. So we see a lot of customers we do trials with reservation investments they've done twice or maybe even 3 times for the same set of instances or instance types. And then because we run the trial, they have a tough discussion with Amazon. Why did you advise us to do this? Because you already knew that we had these orders in place. Another interesting one is they have 2 types of reservations, standard ones and convertible ones. They have their own characteristics. Standard ones gives you more benefit for, let's put it, the more stable workloads, an SAP environment type of workload. Convertible RIs give companies an extra benefit, not as high as the standard, but for workloads they're not really sure will exist. They're transforming, and the convertible RI has more transformation capabilities. A lot of our customers have both types of reservations in their whole list of reservation order. Amazon handles the credits, the vouchers for a reservation hour on a round-robin basis. Each instance goes to the reservation list or reservation order list, looks at which is applicable to me, and I can take one for this hour. There's no priority. There's no priority over standard versus convertible. That means that if you're looking at underutilized reservations, you might actually end up with all of your convertible reservations being consumed and all of your standard reservations being underutilized. So how are you going to make sense of redistributing your convertible reservations in an Amazon console that tells you the truth? This has been consumed, but you have no way of mathematically reorganizing the usage we have seen, taking priority in applying the standard reservations first, and then looking at the best spread of convertible reservations. That's one of the key success factors for our platform today, is that we can do that, and we do that. It actually proves lifetime savings in the millions for big customers, of being able to programmatically, automatically, on a daily basis, change your convertible RI spread to continue to optimize your benefit of those convertible RIs. Move object data to lower cost tiers. Storage, right? Everybody starts at A, but there are lower types that might be good enough for the performance you are actually taking. Do that. Don't wait till it happens. Don't just leave it because everything is running. We help you to optimize and manage that in a better and easier way. A mobile gaming company in this case was actually having very stale data, although they thought they had very changeable data. So we got them to lower classes and saving them a lot of money. Again, in agreement with Oblivion, what is best going forward, go serverless. It is the way forward in the cloud, not looking at traditional IaaS or PaaS or management consoles. This is what saves you a lot of money. You can start comparing, like Jeroen showed us, Azure, Amazon, Google. It is kind of roughly the same cost. This isn't. This is really much cheaper. So that's not really a key takeaway where I give you a lot of benefit from our platform which application do you need to go? This is me giving you number 10. If you want to go forward, look at that. And I didn't know that it was on Jeroen's slide, by the way, but it is a good way forward. So that is it for the slide section of this, this demo. So how do we do it? So a couple of things. CloudHealth needs to collect data from the cloud provider, and we do that in a trusted way. So we use cloud-to-cloud, account-to-account trust relationships to prevent it from going to the internet and to make it a secure exercise. The cloud data we collect can be very rich, but we use a very limited amount of data, and especially we use only metadata to see how your environment is doing. So we use detailed billing records, cost and usage records, and some details on an account API level. And the last one gives us all of the tag information, all of the security information, all of the statuses of the different assets. Those are not necessarily popping up in a billing file, which is purely there for billing purposes. So when we look at the data sets, each of our data sets always comes with cost, usage, and performance views. That means that our reports in our dashboard are cost related by Amazon service, they are usage related, or performance related if we go into a dashboard of a DevOps engineer. They can view the costs of their environment, in this case in a cloud by cloud fashion, and they can do that on a performance level as well. So you can actually see business application behavior of the specific DevOps person environment. So it's persona based, it's role based. These dashboards can be customized to fit whatever role responsibility you have. Going one step deeper before we dive into the real nitty-gritty details of reporting is what we call Pulse reports. Pulse reports are the CloudHealth best practices. They are the exact level views of how is my cloud spend doing. This is the CFO dashboard where the CFO looks at their cloud consumption in a more financially driven way, right? What are the deltas? What are the, and I need to change something to make it more meaningful for you. What are the deltas of the cloud services I'm consuming? So this is, is it kind of readable? So on the left-hand side, it's the cloud services. It is the column with month-to-date cost, last month spent, projected, the delta, and some pluses and minuses. So you can easily see the differences of what was last month, what is this month. Again, using the automation, the governance engine, you can put in rules that monitor specific subsets of these data sets. The next one, the next important thing to understand is this is just by cloud service. That is not business meaningful. Business meaningful means we need to tie all of your cloud consumption back to organizations, business units, using the cloud's metadata. Being the asset manager, the CMDB, like Jeroen said. Now the same cost is distributed across engineering, marketing, DevOps, support. It is the view that makes it relevant to your organization. Another key topic is reservation management. I already mentioned that in the slide deck. When we look at reservation management, a couple of things are very important to understand. A sell value to IT organizations is to be able to sell the benefit of using a platform like this. So what is required is to be able to show what is the consumption for your business unit, but also what are the savings we were able to get you by applying reservations. So we have savings numbers. We see expiring reservations. So when do you need to take control over investing in new ones? When do you need to start modeling? We can alert on underutilized reservations. So that is reservation purchases which at the time actually had a proper workload, but by now they don't. So you're paying for the commitment, but you don't consume the credits. So we have reservation opportunities, the workloads that are not able to get enough credits, enough reservation coverage. So you're better off in investing in those. And there's an order in that, right? Like I explained, there is a standard and a convertible RI capability. If we look at our tool set and we go and look at the convertible RI exchanger, that is the first thing that needs to happen. And I ran this before I opened because it's a live demo and I didn't know my phone Wi-Fi was going to be good enough. This is real life data collection and calculations of what is the best way forward for your RI coverage. So what this in effect does, it has looked at the reservations. It has seen that they can give me another 6K lifetime savings over the remainder period of the reservation. And it does that by looking at a specific set of instances. In this case, there is a reservation order of 142 R3 larges, and there is a reservation order of 52 M3 larges. Against those reservation orders, we can split those and take 5 R3 larges, of which 50% is consumed, and take those reservations and change them because they're not heavily consumed. And the same goes for these 3 M3 larges, the 2 M3 mediums, and this converted 56 M3 mediums. All of those will be added up to transform into 16 M4 larges. That'll get you that 6K savings for the remainder of the reservation period. This is something that is unique in the field. It is something that Amazon is not delivering at the moment. And where we are very successful in helping our customers pursue lower costs in their cloud environment. Now, what's the rest of the capability? The rest of the capability we call health check. The health check is kind of a snapshot view of how well is your cloud estate doing. And if you remember the first 4 slides I used, they all kind of went about ghost infrastructure. So the immediate monthly savings on this slide are talking about EBS volumes we have detected that are not used. And they also transform that in a benefit cost. So we can save $1,900 if you get rid of those on a monthly basis. So we also talked about the automation engine. The cloud governance engine, reports need to be relevant, so your perspectives, the groupings of your business views need to be complete. So we alert on those if they are incomplete. If your assets are, if the asset level of untagged assets for a specific grouping is getting lower, we alert you and we help you to maintain a proper reporting structure. Cloud governance does more, and I'll give you the example I used with the tagging information. So in our policy engine, if I go and look at tags, I have the ability to be very flexible. I can look at EC2 instances, and I'll edit this one. I can look at those EC2 instances, and maybe I'll zoom in a little bit to make it a bit more readable. How's that? Is that better? I can look at EC2 instances, and depending on the resource type I select on this level, I'll have different conditions and different actions to my availability. So a condition can be for looking at a billing statement, I can only look at cost. If I look at an EC2 instance, I can actually look at cost, configuration, usage, performance, security, and none. None being the one where we schedule all of the turning off, shutting down, and starting again of those assets. In this case, I am looking at the EC2 instance, which is untagged. Untagged might not be as easily detected because you might need to have a specific tag. So instead of untagged, you might want to go into is missing a tag. It might be the owner tag. And if you want to go down to being even more specific, it needs to match a specific naming convention. You can even put that in. And if the values match, then stop the Amazon EC2 instance and email the IT administrator, or as I said, email the owner, wait for a couple of days, then send an email to the IT administrator and then stop it. So there is flexibility in the engine to do whatever you want. in a sense. It can be security driven, it can be configuration driven. You might want to have assets alerted on that are underutilized. You might want to have alerts for the reservations, so you don't have to look at all of the dashboards. You can put all of the boundaries, all of the thresholds in the policy engine, and you'll be alerted, or will remediate on the spot. Going back to the health check, rightsizing we discussed, right? Taking control of your assets in such a way that it becomes relevant to the business. There's not a one-size-fits-all. If the asset is underutilized, then it is correct. As some applications might be memory intense, the others might be CPU intense or disk intense. So there is a way CloudHealth in their recommendation tools actually helps you to not just do instance-based right-sizing, and the default is on averages of all of the CPU, memory, disk, and network cores, but we can apply policies. And those policies can be tweaks, customizations to how we need to evaluate what we need to do with the environment to make that more business sensitive. If we use easy-to right-sizing by perspectives, perspectives are the regroupings of the assets, we could take a perspectives regrouping by function, which means I am now grouping all of the assets by the type of workload they are consuming. It might be web servers, database servers, cube engines. They all will have their own way of working, their own, I am memory optimized, I am CPU optimized. By applying the right policy to these groupings, you'll have a better right-sizing recommendation than just using the averages across all. You are able to say, I want to see peak values in the recommendation taken into account and not just the averages. It can differ, it can change. So, did I now lose my, my health check dashboard? Yes, I did. Last but not least, the segue into, we do a little bit of security, we get all the data, we have the ability to benchmark all that data against CIS frameworks. We can monitor on the firewall ranges in your cloud landscape, so we can alert on open ports you might not want to have to the public domain, both for EBS volumes as for EC2 instances, right, for the network traffic. And we benchmark the rest of your security environment against the CIS best practices for AWS, for Azure, for Google, across the clouds. If you want to have more detailed information, then you drill down into an integration we have with an actual security platform. For the VMware acquisition, it is announced that both Secure State, which is a security mechanism, and Wavefront, which is an application performance capability, will be integrated as full features within the CloudHealth platform. So not just as an integration, but actually as feature functionality, to make those capabilities a much richer experience in the platform. That's it for a brief kind of CloudHealth overview of how to manage and maintain your costs.